What's up, UFC chums and bums? Coming back with another prediction video for UFC 297, Strickland versus du Plessis, and Pennington versus Mauro. I can't pronounce anything for crap right now. Silva. We're just going to say Silva because that's a bit easier. We're going to coming off high with the press conference. That was such a good time. The Canadian crowd's going to be so fun to listen to while the fights are going on tomorrow. Not tomorrow, Saturday. Tomorrow's Friday. That's okay, though. We're going to start with the first card on the first fight on the main card. You have Arnold Allen versus Movsar Evloev. Straight off the bat, I'm picking an underdog. I'm picking Allen. I feel like Allen's going to be able to at least stuff takedowns, even though we haven't seen him stuff a takedown for like 2 years, but that's okay. You know, we haven't seen him getting taken down, so I don't really know what his ground game is going to look like. But Diego Lopez was landing pretty good shots, and Diego Lopez looked pretty sloppy against Evloev. And if he was landing big shots like that, Allen did really good in the striking comparatively with Max Holloway. Now, Max is great, all-time great, second best, third best featherweight of all time. But that's beside the point. Arnold Allen had a really good performance against him. He arguably won 2 rounds. It was really, really close. And then I think Arnold Allen's going to piece him up on the feet for the majority of 3 rounds, if not TKO him towards the end. I don't see Evloev doing a ton to him. That being said, I don't know Arnold's ground game at all. Moving on to the next fight, we have Chris Curtis versus, already forgot his first name, Barriat. I'm assuming that's how you pronounce it. Don't really care. Barriat has a pretty significant size advantage over him. It's not super significant, but like 3 inches. He's got a shorter reach somehow. He's got stubby little T-Rex arms. Which plays into it. Chris Curtis has really crisp boxing, even though he was getting kind of pieced up in his last fight before that little odd DQ that may or may not have been not DQ. Was it a DQ or was it a no contest? I don't remember. Or was it a no decision? I don't remember. All I remember was that he was kind of getting pieced up by Imavov, and he kind of lucked out with the eye poke there, just like Bilal Muhammad versus Leon. But that being said, I'm picking Chris Curtis. I think Chris Curtis is going to be able to knock him stiff within the last 2 rounds. I think he'll probably catch him more towards the last. I mean, he had a pretty good a really good fight with Kelvin Gastelum, and then Kelvin got steamrolled by Sean Brady. What a disappointment that was. But yeah, Chris Curtis by 3rd round TKO. We'll go with 3rd round TKO. All right, next up the card, we got Mike Malott versus Neil Magny. I feel like the odds are a little bit tipped in one favor too much, because Magny's not like terrible by any means. Like, he's the perfect gatekeeper in the UFC. Mallett's great, don't get me wrong. Mallett's great, but I do think Neil Magny can pose a few problems to him. I'm picking Malott. Don't fight me over this, because like I wasn't picking Magny, but I do think Magny provides quite a few challenges with a 7-inch reach. He's got pretty decent clinch game up against the fence and all that, you know. He's not bad. I mean, he somehow beat Jeff Neal. I still don't... I got to rewatch that fight because it's been a while since I watched that fight, because Jeff Neal is one of my favorites, and he lost to Neal. He lost to Magny. Disappointment. But yeah, I'm going Mike Malott, but those odds are tempting to put money on Magny, honestly. All right, up the card, we have the co-main, Pennington versus Silva. Pennington's fought pretty much everybody and lost and beat everybody. Like, she has one of the weirdest mixed bag records. She's been in the UFC for forever now, right? I think she's on a 5-win streak. She kept asking in the press conference, she kept asking who Silva beat. She literally just submitted Holly Holm. And yes, Holly Holm's like 50 years old, but that is a name to beat. Like, that is a pretty big name in UFC to beat. Like, women's MMA, she's like, what, 3rd, 4th biggest name probably. I got Silva by submission on this one. I don't think Pennington's honestly very good. Like, I mean, she's good, but she's got 1 sub. She doesn't have that great of a ground game in the last 5, and most of her stuff is either decision, and then you have like 2 submissions in the last 10 years. Oh, you have 3 submissions in the last 10 years. I missed a pretty recent one. But yeah, no, I just feel like Silva is good enough to submit her. I'm going 3rd round submission for Silva. Maybe TKO, I don't know, but I'm sensing a pretty decently quick finish, so we don't have to bore through 5 rounds of Pennington doing nothing. Other than that, we got the fight everyone's here for. We have Sean Strickland versus du Plessis. This one's a hard one. Truthfully, I think it's a complete 50-50. It really depends on so many unanswered questions, like how is Dricus's cardio going to hold up? How much grappling is going to be involved? Is Sean going to be able to deal with the grappling? Is Sean going to be able to deal with the awkward striking of Dricus? Is he going to be able to? I don't know. I don't know. This fight's a lot of unanswered questions. I'm scared for Sean because I do believe that Dricus. I think that it's more likely Dricus gets a finish in 1 or 2 rounds than it is that Sean gets a finish in 4 or 5. That being said, I'm picking Strickland via decision. I have a weird feeling because Dricus always starts off super strong, pretty dominant. His fight with Whitaker, he was getting pieced up for a majority of the first round, and then no, not even the first round. He was winning. He was losing the first round up until like the last minute or so when grappling exchanges happened. He just had an arm throw at Whitaker, absolute singing, just mauled him, and then started bopping his head off the canvas. Then in the second round, I still feel like Whitaker was tagging him up. It was a more even round, but Whitaker was doing fine. The bounce back round, he was doing okay until that jab put him down, and then he just kind of got caught up against the fence, and Dricus mauled him. I don't know. I don't know. It's just Duplessis always has this weird knack for kind of like winning round 1, looking terrible in round 2, and then finishing in round 3 or towards the end of round 2 kind of a deal. It's like he kind of always gets outstruck almost. Brunson was landing on him. Darren Till pieced him up in the second. He was getting outstruck from what I remember. I watched the fight back like 2 weeks ago, and I still think that Whitaker was like winning off points. Obviously not the first round. That first round he didn't cause any real damage, but like up until big moments happen, Dricus is losing. And I don't know if you can afford to do that with a guy so defensively sound as Sean Strickland. I mean, I don't look at the Adesanya fight as a fight to compare to this at all because Adesanya is a completely different style. I think a mixture of the Brendan Allen fight and the Jared Cannonier fight, leaning more heavily towards Jared Cannonier because he's a bit more durable. I still think Strickland won that fight, but that's okay. I think Abus is not a great fighter to match up with Duplessis. Maybe danger-wise first round, but gas tank. We already know Duplessis can at least go 3 rounds or at least 2.5 kind of. He's only had like 1 decision recently, and all of his losses are finishes if I remember correctly. He's been TKO'd or KO'd stiff, and he's been submitted as far as I'm aware. I don't know their records pre-UFC, honestly. Looked into it a little bit, but not enough. And I think I've got Sean winning a decision. Dricus is super dangerous, but I got Sean winning round 2, 4, and 5. Duplessis always comes out hot and heavy in the first round. He always looks slow, gas tired, losing the second round. And then he always kind of really rallies in the third, and that's where he's also really dangerous. But against when you're tired too, he tends to rally and beat you in like the third or land heavy bombs before that. I don't think Strickland's going to get to that point where he's tired at all, and I think Strickland will survive the third round, and then he will go on to outpoint him for the next 2, and maybe we see a late TKO from Strickland, but I got Strickland via decision. Let me know what you think. I think people are supposed to say share, like, comment, subscribe, but don't do that.